Hey everyone, Joe here, Mike here, buildassetsonline.com in the house, and today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. We're going to be discussing a concept from How the Economic Machine Works, a video by Ray Dalio, a very popular video, has a lot of views, and we're going to relate it all back to online business, hence Build Assets Online, and how you can take some of these concepts or the concept that we're going to be talking about in this video and understand it and use it to your advantage when it comes to online business. So, Mike, what's the concept we're going to be talking about today?
So yeah, we're going to be going over a few of the concepts that they discuss in the video, mostly pertaining to the idea of credit and productivity. So if you haven't seen the video yet, we'll link it down below. You can go watch it, pause this, or you can just watch it after. So to kind of bring everyone up to speed, there's the idea that in an economy, you either over the long term, you're going to be increasing your productivity. That means you're going to be learning how to do things better. You're going to be doing things more efficiently, and that's going to increase your ability to generate gross revenue. Also, there's the idea of credit, to where you're essentially borrowing from yourself in the future, and therefore you can kind of outpace what you're currently producing in order to be able to learn more and produce more over the short term. So if this is going a little bit over your head, we'll just boil it down to a simple example. So say a farmer is growing corn. So if they don't have some sort of equipment to do this, the only way for them to increase their productivity is to either pick everything manually or to just grow more corn, or a situation like that. With credit, they can basically go buy a tractor they can't afford, and now all of a sudden their productivity increases because they can harvest a lot more corn quicker. So relating this back to online business, we want to talk about the idea of increasing your productivity in online business versus needing credit to do so. So do you want to start off, Joe, or should I keep going?
Yeah, I could start this off. So, I think the main thing that is important when you're discussing this in terms of online business is that the rules of physical business don't exactly apply. Because if you're gonna open up a store like on your street or whatever down on your block, you absolutely need credit to get money for that physical location. Whereas in online business, the way you pay for real estate, in quotes, can be free or can be much less expensive. So you don't need to go and take out loans or use credit to get access to people's eyes, aka online real estate. And you can basically create a cash flowing asset out of thin air because
Yeah.
you don't need credit. Now you can use credit to grow this a little bit faster, but the point is that because of the way the internet works, if you have a couple important skills, you can leverage your like infinite reach, to get a cash flowing asset without the need for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so basically the idea of going and doing something in the physical world, if you want to, like Joe said, start a business, a brick and mortar business, you better have the money. If you don't want to use credit, you better have the money to pay the rent every month, or to buy a bunch of inventory, or anything like that. It's going to require a lot of capital, and also a lot of things that regarding physical goods require a lot of like research and development and testing to make sure that you're continually improving your product, to make sure that you're getting in new products, things like that. With online business, you can do things in such a sleek way that you're really making money just based on your knowledge, and basically the cost of different tools and buying domains and buying things like that. Those are all kind of trivial. Like if you have even a small amount of money saved up, you can go ahead and do this. And I think that's kind of the point that me and Joe wanted to get at. Like we have basically built a portfolio of over $1 million worth of online assets, and we have not had to take out any sort of credit to do so. The only thing that we use is, of course, a credit card, but we pay that off basically every couple days. We just use it for the sake of getting different bonuses that a credit card can bring. But yeah, so that's kind of the main thing that we wanted to get at. When you're starting an online business, especially if you're like weary, you do not need credit. And we actually, I would say, don't recommend it because in the video, they kind of talk about they use credit as a way to sort of borrow from yourself and get ahead. But the thing is, if you do not have the knowledge to sort of back up what you're borrowing, then you're going to wind up in a bad situation, especially with online business because it can be volatile, especially if you're not diversified. So, what was the next thing we had here?
No, I think you touched on an important point is that online business, to be successful at it, it's more about the accumulation of skills, which goes to create the digital assets, than the accumulation of assets, which brings in the income, if that makes sense. So yeah, like you're right. If you decide you don't know what you're doing and you decide you're going to go on Empire Flippers and buy a website, say this website gets a lot of SEO traffic, or it's an Amazon affiliate site or whatever, and you don't understand how SEO works, you're going to be into a rude awakening because you can easily make a fatal mistake that's going to crash your business from whatever it is down to zero in a very, very quick fashion.
Yeah,
Whereas
if you don't have a knowledge, if you don't have a good knowledge base built up or a good community around you of people who are doing similar things that you can bounce ideas off of, online business is a lot more tricky because, like you said, one mistake could be fatal. We've had situations where we've made like a tweak, or we've seen rather other websites make like a simple theme change, and we saw their entire SEO completely tank. So this can result in like hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost revenue.
yeah,
Whereas in real life, this is like something like this couldn't happen necessarily. So yeah, credit is good for the real world, but in online business, the most important thing that you need to build up is your own skill set. And you can do this kind of for minimal cost at your own pace. And then once you feel like the methods that you've developed yourself or that you've learned and that you've kind of implemented and understood the nuances of, once you've figured out that those work, then you can sort of dive into the credit realm.
yeah. So there's two main business models that I think, and I think you would agree, Mike, make this the most possible. We talked about SEO and stuff, but SEO is not really one of those. If you're just getting started out, SEO is not really one of those necessary skills to get started, and that's because it takes a long time. It's probably one of the most volatile in the terms of online business. Like you said, you can make a tweak, your whole website can go down. But there's two things that stick out in my mind, and that is high ticket dropshipping and Kindle publishing. Now, in terms of high ticket dropshipping, I think it is the best way to build a higher profit business long term quicker. But in terms of making your first dollar online, making your first $100, $200, Kindle publishing is essentially probably the easier way to go. In terms of simplicity and to be able to do something without credit. So as a quick example, I'm not sure if we're going to have this video out by when we publish this one, but we gave an example of you can publish a book on Kindle or Kindle paperback just on the Amazon platform, something like you can create for very cheaply, like a coloring book or like a book about like would you rather die in like a block of ice or like in a volcano, and just come up with a bunch of these ideas, put them in a book, make a nice cover, throw them on Amazon, and then you basically have an asset, much like a mini physical location, because it takes up a little bit of digital real estate on Amazon, and it's just going to keep making you money, over and over and over again. This kind of happened with me. When I first got started in online business, I created a series of coloring books. I had no idea what I was doing, but those coloring books, that was 2015, they still make me money today. I mean, last month it made me like $150. Much less than when they first started because the competition was low at the time. But the fact is that it's just like little digital pieces of real estate that I created for free without credit, and they just keep cash flowing.
Yeah, and I think that's also the idea of infinite ROI. You know, it costs you basically little to nothing to put this thing out there into the economy, and now it can just create a return. And then from with that, the money you get from that, you can use that if you want to go ahead and buy a course, or if you want to hire someone to produce books for you. You know, but that's the good thing about online business, is that you don't necessarily need to start out with employees. If you're opening a retail store, you need employees. If you're opening some sort of factory, you need employees. You can't do everything yourself. In online business, you can, I'd say 99% of the time, do things yourself if you want to.
Not only that you do not need employees, is that the capital infrastructure, you mentioned like a factory or like a plant or something, they need equipment to complete the tasks that they're going to complete. Like if you're going to be back to the corn example, if you're going to be like husking corn, or not husking, taking the kernels off and like putting the kernels into like a frozen bag or like a can or something, you need the proper equipment to do that in order to keep pace with how everyone else is doing it. But
before you can even make money off of the frozen corn.
Yeah, exactly. Before you can even make the money, you have to spend money to do that. But like the example I just mentioned, like with the Kindle publishing or the drop shipping, the infrastructure is already there. These big companies, you can argue, I mean, we have a love-hate relationship with companies like Google, Amazon, yada, yada, yada. They do provide the infrastructure, regardless of how you feel about them, for anyone to go and start making money like almost immediately, because the distribution method is there. They've made it. Anyone can use it.
Yeah. And so I think that's kind of the main point that we want to get at. There's this whole new sort of economy that's been created by these big companies, and you can feel about, you can have your own feelings about that. But essentially, as normal people, we have the ability now to take the money that we make or get through credit, credit cards even, and put that into a situation where we can make more money back than we put in. Without this new online business economy, the only way to do that would be through, say, buying gambling or starting a physical business. But now there's so many more opportunities to go and sort of be on the other side of where you're creating the assets.
Right. You're really jumping on the other side of becoming, a worker to an investor. And you can do it. I think the key indication here is that you can do it on a micro level with very little risk. We keep talking about physical businesses, physical locations. They need credit. They need machinery. They need to lease out their space. They need the money for real estate. These are really big investments. But a book on Amazon Kindle, even if you don't make it yourself, is a very, very small investment. It can range anywhere from $10 to $100, maybe $500, depending on the length of the book. But, the fact is that really is nothing compared to a commercial real estate or real estate in general. I actually own a rental property, and I will tell you that the ROI on the rental property, although it has tax advantages and some other great things about it, the ROI on the rental property compared to like our books on Kindle, it's not even comparable. It's not even comparable at all, because, I had to save up money for a down payment. I have to pay the mortgage every month. And at the end of the day, in terms of raw cash flow profit, before we're talking write-offs and anything like that, I probably make like $300 a month from that rental property. But, that could literally be, like I told you, those coloring books, they make me like $150 a month. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot less of a process to create 5 or 6 coloring books, put them online, than rent a house. And, if that local housing economy goes bad, I care a lot about that. That could be a big problem for me, because I still have to make those mortgage payments, because I'm working off borrowing. I'm working off credit. Whereas with those coloring books, if Amazon bans my account, or the ranked or the keywords that they rank for in Amazon tanks, honestly, I'm not that concerned about it. Yeah, I lost $150 a month, but it's made me good money since 2015. and that's it. I'll just go create some more digital assets for a fraction, very, very small fraction of the price of my real estate investment.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention that like you would be able to put your money into that would make you money back would be like stocks or a bank. But the thing is with those, even with stocks, you're not really in control of how the market performs or how a particular business performs that you have stock in. Or with a bank, you're getting such a low return. With online business, the leverage that you have is so high. Like you're saying that you make $300 a month from your rental property. That's $3,600 a year. I can put out a PDF. I can just upload a PDF onto Amazon and make that in a month.
Yeah.
You know, and so like it's not even a thing in existence. It's just a PDF file of words, and yeah, that's really what the crazy thing is about it, and that's the whole point, is that anyone can do it. Anyone can take advantage of this this new wave of being able to create your own assets and have a diversified portfolio that you manage yourself, almost like a micro private equity situation. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the conclusion of the video, but
well, actually,
yeah,
one thing I want to touch on, Mike, is, I don't want to necessarily, what's it called? Like, I'm not knocking physical location businesses as a bad thing to do if you know what you're doing. But if you're thinking about starting a business, and I think many, many people get into this, they make this mistake. So, around where we are, there's a lot of pizza places. There's always pizza places opening up and closing, the same thing, all sorts of like, you see a business pop up and, if we drive by it, I'm just like, that's going to be closed in like a year or two.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a constant cycle of people messing up. And the thing is that the fundamentals that you learn in online business, a lot of it can translate to the real world. So if it's your dream to start a physical location business one day, have a local business that helps out the community, is a valuable asset to the community, that's great. I mean, I may even want to do that one day. Like, who knows? But the fundamentals that you learn in online business, in terms of like you can't learn that in like getting like an MBA or something, because you have to live it. You have to understand the profits you're making. You have to understand the traffic that you're getting. You have to understand how much of the traffic is buying your stuff. You have to understand your cost per lead. You have to understand your cost per conversion. Like, how much does it cost to make you a sale? It would be so much easier. I'm pretty confident I can be successful. I'll have a much higher rate. I would have a much better chance of being successful at starting a physical location business if I wanted to, based on what I've learned with online business. It's kind of like, for any Dragon Ball Z fans, it's kind of like the hyperbolic time chamber, because you can kind of do things in a very compressed format, in a short time span, and get the same amount of value.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess we could wrap it up there, unless you got anything else to say.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, as they say. Yeah, I think that's really the main takeaway, is you need to really get these skills, these online business skills, because they're much easier to learn. They don't cost you much to do it. You don't need to go into debt, and then once you have the skills, you can then create credit or debt to then increase your profits faster.
Go into debt once you know what you're doing, and if you know you're a sophisticated investor enough to do it. Don't do it just because people tell you to do it. So if you want to learn more about how we structure our online business portfolio, check out buildassetsonline.com/playbook. We basically break it down. We have a little pyramid that shows the base of how we invest, the foundation of all of our online business portfolio items in our online business portfolio, and how one cash flows into the other. So if you go check that out, it's our free course. I think it'll be good. It'll give you a good introduction on how we view all this at a deeper level, a little bit more of the magnifying glass on the specifics of online. And you can also watch other videos on this YouTube channel, of course, or with the podcast. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, leave us a rating on iTunes, thumbs up, all that stuff, and we will see you in the next episode.
Take it easy.